I mean, with that, what do you think the hardest part of scare acting is?
I think the hardest part is
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Haunt Talk. My name is Scott,
I'm Rob.
and today we are joined by our first ever guest here on the Haunt Talk podcast. Please welcome all the way from Fright Magic Mountain, Fright Crony. How are you doing today?
Woo!
I'm well. How are you?
Or Crone, right? I just
Crone.
asked you about
Yes.
that, and I said it wrong. So thank you for being our first
Yes,
guest
thank you
on.
so much.
We're going to kind of get into the mind of a scare actor. Have you ever done one of these before?
No, I've never done anything like this.
Oh, cool. So this will be fun. We're going to pick your brain a little bit on what it's like to work for Fright Fest. But before that, make sure if you guys aren't already, subscribe to the Hunt Talk YouTube channel, subscribe to myself and Rob, and then you can find Crone's Instagram handle down below in the description as well. But with that being said, Rob, why don't you kick things off with today's special episode?
All right, awesome. We got a couple questions for you. Like Scott said, we want to pick your brain. One thing I was just kind of curious about, like as far as your character, how much input do you get to like kind of put in, and if you don't get too much input, like how much freedom do they give you with as far as like what you can do, or your character's kind of traits and stuff like that.
So when you go in for the audition and when they select you and like what you've done, they come up with an idea for a base character.
Okay.
So when I first started, I was in the witch's lair. And so they saw me and they were like, "Oh, witch." And then they picked out my outfit and the prosthetics and everything themselves. And then they give you just this vague overview of what the type of area is like. And if you have any struggles or concerns about like, "Hey, do you have any tips for me?" They're more than happy to give tips, but they give you a lot of freedom to fine tune your character to
Okay.
yourself. And so when I came over to the carnival area that they have now, and it's a name that I'm not thrilled with saying because it's just my personal name sake. But I really, once they told me that my character was like an acrobat, an aerialist, and that's the first words they used to describe me. So my brain
Okay.
took it as being like a trapeze artist
Okay.
Okay.
mixed with the bat. And so that's how I got a lot of my flowy, dancey movements, and then the scares from there being twisty and turny because I mixed the bat with the aerialist.
Interesting. So you were in this past year Carnival Hell, right? I think it's called.
No evil, just
It-
the carny
it's-
mixed with the other word.
Yeah, it's like
Carney.
Carn of Hell, right? Carn of
Gotcha.
Hell.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Carn of Hell.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. And then how long have you been in that zone?
For both years that it has actually been running so far.
Oh, okay, right on. Cool. I guess with the your character development and everything, was it easy to transition from like the witch's lair to that idea, or did you find more difficulty? Like, which character did you enjoy more?
As much as I love the Witch's Lair, I
Uh-huh.
actually found myself really blossoming more in
Okay.
the carnival because just once they showed me the outfit and everything, it sparked the imagination. I felt like I had more movement capability than I did
Gotcha.
with my cloak inside of the Witch's Lair. I felt more
Okay.
restrained in my
for
movements.
for free roaming and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool that they kind of give you like the base, so you can kind of just expand on there. Did they give you like a lot of creative freedom as far as like you telling the story of your character almost?
Oh yeah, they definitely let me come up with my own story on that. And then slight tweaks like adding the colors to my hair and everything. That's definitely allowed for myself. As long as you get it approved, you can be like, "Hey, can I wear this?" And then they would be like, "Oh yeah, you could add that to your costume," or "It's not quite what fits your character concept. Let's try something
Like,
else."
so you're
Okay.
saying there's a chance. Well, how did you get the character name?
So in my first year, they said with the Witch's Lair, they said that everyone comes up with character names so that way when you're out there, people aren't just addressing you as your personal name. It's
Hmm.
you be a character just like anybody else. You don't walk up to Bugs Bunny or up to uh, Superman and go, Clark Kent. You say Superman. So that was the same concept. And then so we kind of brainstormed and I heard what some of the other people were. And so Crone developed because of the styling that was with my witch character.
Okay.
And then because of the way my story went, I felt completely comfortable keeping the name moving into the carnival.
Oh, okay.
Nice, nice. Um, how like I mean you had mentioned like just kind of other characters. Do you I would say like do you get their feedback? Like is that something where you guys kind of like, oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Or is it more like you just kind of this is what I want to do kind of thing?
So on some stuff, it's definitely like, oh, I've got an idea. I'm going to run with it. Then there's other times that there's such a wonderful community of people that if you just want to brainstorm, they will help you out. Or if you just need to just be like, hey, I need to just talk right now and just, I need a moment of a friendship, and they will be there for that too.
That's awesome.
It seems like the Fright Fist team is just very connected.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that I mean everybody. I mean Rob knows a lot more Fright Fest actors than me. Now I've kind of got more back into the Fright Fest game because I really enjoyed it a whole lot, and it's just crazy how connected everyone is at that event. Like everybody knows each other.
And it's always welcome to see new faces at the same time as just we look forward to we're like before audition time even comes around we're always like messaging each other going hey you guys gonna go right are we gonna see you again this year.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I saw like for Scream Break, like a lot of Knott's actors are going over there, which is
Yeah,
cool.
I heard about all that too that there was so many people that there was people from several different places that were coming over to audition and the
Yeah.
fact that it's limited number made it definitely a little nerve-wracking because I was like, oh, I don't just have my normal competition, I've got extra competition.
that's I mean that's cool to have I mean specifically even with Screen Break like have other actors from other parks wanting to come and
Mhm.
you know audition and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. Um when you when sorry, I just lost my train of thought. My bad, Scott. I just lost it right now. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So when you know you say like competition, is it one of those things where like you? I mean, you know, there's like a game where you're trying to like you know like a actual sports game where you're trying to beat someone or you know win. But when you say competition, is it like more like a thing where it's like you know kind of like the rising tide, like you want to step your game up and you know they step their game up kind of thing?
Yeah, it's that you definitely, it makes you want to definitely increase your own performance levels. So that way, and then it's not that there's anything like I'm all for meeting people from other haunts and stuff and seeing what they
Hmm.
bring to the table. It's just that knowing that there's less slots for Scream Break than there is for Fright Fest,
Right.
Right.
it just makes it like, oh, okay, do I know what I'm doing? Am I going to go in there and actually be able to focus? And so it's
Got to
more
be on your
of
A
just like,
game.
yeah. And then afterward, it's like, okay, how'd you do on your audition? How do you feel? And stuff like that. So it's not that competition as if I want to beat somebody or anything like that. It's definitely just the pressure to make you want to do better.
I assume it's nerve wracking, and you describe it good because it makes you want to do better and grow in
Mhm.
yourself. I'm assuming it's nerve wracking just because of how much talent there is in just Southern California haunt world. And you know, I like my trending thing on the show that I like to do that Rob's not too fond of is poke fun at the East Coast. But the amount of talent out here compared to out there is insane. Like there is so much talent out here. It's crazy for the haunt world.
Yeah, I haven't really been to any other haunt stuff other than what's around here.
Gotcha.
Um, but I know that there is a lot of really good talent,
Yeah.
and I'm always amazed by what everybody else does.
Well, speaking of Screen Break, do you have any idea what you're going to be doing this year, or you have it
I
just early
haven't
phases?
I haven't been given the official statement other than
Oh,
I will be there.
right on. That's
That
good
yeah,
enough to
that
hear.
works. That works. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
You had said about going to like other haunts and stuff like that around the area. So what when you're I guess you have a night off on Fright Fest, like what other haunts do you hit?
So I know that my husband got to visit the Not Scary Farm last year,
Okay.
on one of the nights because they were running on a weekday where I had to work, unfortunately, my primary job.
Gotcha.
And so he got to enjoy it, and he was like sending me pictures and talking to me all about it and saying the his top highlights and lowlights. Other than that, I haven't taken any chances to visit since I've been a scare actor.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's been a few years since I've done anything outside of scaring.
Have you done like conventions and stuff during like the
Yes,
summertime?
I have actually visited Midsummer Scream twice
Okay.
and love that. It's a blast.
Yeah.
So many cool stuff there.
That's also like where you can just see everybody from the haunt world. Like
Right.
Most
everyone that
definitely.
is someone is there. Which is awesome too, because then you can mingle with different scare actors who are all doing like their own
Yeah,
cosplay and everything, you know.
definitely. But it's
But I,
so cool
go
seeing
ahead.
them. Yeah, it's just so cool seeing everybody outside of it and just being able to talk with them,
Yeah.
with the different people, because it's a different atmosphere than when you're actually scaring,
Right.
to be
Right.
able to
Yeah.
talk with someone and get to know them more.
I assume everyone's like in an adrenaline rush while you're scaring, whereas at a convention you're more calmed down. You can like relax a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, you we're talking about Scream Break a little bit. With Scream Break, do you find it like easier to work that event last year compared to regular haunt, or is it about the same?
Um, they have their own little spin to it. So
Okay.
with the Fright Fest, it's all about the get in, get the scares, be creepy. Um, but with Scream Break, it's a little bit of party with the monsters,
Right.
as well as like just a hint of the scares.
Well, I think I was able to attend it last year, and I think you're right, spot on with that. It is like you're partying with the monsters. I had a blast last year. I think I'm glad they brought it back. It's a whole in as far as my memory, I don't think any haunt has ever done anything like it. So I think it's very original.
No,
So
no.
so I'm really glad you're gonna be there, and I'm glad they're bringing it back.
Yeah, and hopefully both Rob and I will get out there this year because Rob got to go last year, but I'm definitely gonna make a trip this year just because I feel like we talked about it in an episode earlier where like Condemned House Party
Oh yeah,
definitely is like a Scream Break house more than a Fright Fest house, you
yeah.
know. So I'll be curious to kind of get the vibe. I mean, with that, what do you think the hardest part of scare acting is?
Um, I think the hardest part is getting over your own nerves.
Okay.
So I go in with, like, you'll hear people, oh, I've got these theater background, or they're amateur actors of other type of things.
Mm-hmm.
They've done voice acting, they've done all these things, and I'm just sitting here, oh, uh, yeah, my biggest background is I did a little bit of color guard.
There you go.
And so I'm sitting there and I get nervous. Even, I've
Right.
done Fright Fest for 5 years and I get nervous.
Okay. Do you still find that like every single year, like opening nights around, you're like, crap, I haven't done this in so long.
Yeah, it makes me go, okay, wait, let me assess. Do I know how to make certain sounds still? Because it's not
Uh-huh.
like you go around in your normal day life
Right.
unless you have those kind of jobs that allow that. But someone
Exactly.
who sits in a library all day,
You're not going up and snarling at people.
not really. That wouldn't go over very well.
Would you say that it's more difficult to calm those nerves, or is it like you have a really hard night, there's a bunch of ruckus, there's a bunch of kids, or is that pretty standard that happens on a day-to-day basis? Because we've heard some haunt horror stories. Unfortunately, it's still around. Or do you guys kind of, as a Bright Fest, pretty good at keeping that down?
So there will always be the horror stories out there.
Hmm.
I've had some negative experience moments myself,
Yeah.
but all of my positive moments outweigh the negative. And I try not to let one moment completely just ruin my night. Um,
It's the
Everybody
right
has off
mindset.
moments. Like if you in any job, any point in your life, you could just wake up and just not be feeling it. And so it's really nice to have the wonderful community we do because you can show up and they will check in with you like, "Hey, you
Hmm.
okay? You good?"
Oh, that's good.
And even throughout the night, I've had people like one of my moments that was not so great. They checked in on me for the whole weekend because they knew what happened to me. And so they were like, "Oh, just doing a check in. You good still?
Yeah.
Okay."
It's that positive reassurance, you know.
Hmm.
I think that helps with any situation in life. I'm assuming, especially acting when it's out there. Like I said, everyone's adrenaline's pumping, and it's hard to just take a step back and
Yeah.
like take a breather and be like, "Cool, I'm still a person too," you know, before I'm a
Right, right.
monster.
And that could be hard for a lot of the public to notice is that we
Hmm.
are people
Yeah,
behind all the makeup, all the effects. And so there's those moments that they forget in
yeah,
all the
hmm,
adrenaline. And it's not that they're always trying to do it on purpose, but
yeah,
things happen.
Right.
exactly.
I mean, I almost kind of liken it to like, and again, there's those accidental things where
Hmm.
I kind of liken it to like, you're watching a scary movie and it's not real, but it still scares the crap out of you. And I've seen you work. You move very creepy and very eerie, especially when you're coming from like the light and the fog and everything. So
Yeah, now that you explain the movements, it like makes complete sense. So it's awesome hearing that character.
yeah. So I mean, I kind of liken it to that. Again, not intentional, but it does happen, unfortunately. But so, you had mentioned like other people kind of reaching out to you. Do you guys have, or is it kind of like whether it's Six Flags kind of doing it or you guys yourself doing it? Do you guys have like I would say like running partners or just kind of partners where you're like I'm watching your back, you're kind of watching my back. Do you guys have stuff like that over there?
So we have uh, someone that's always on site that is paid to help look after us and keep
Okay.
track of help us keep track of our schedules.
Hmm.
And then they have the security team that goes around as well. And then there's the officers on site as well that they keep. Things will still happen at times where somebody doesn't see something. And so at those moments, it's actor watching out for other actors
Okay.
and just help spot, hey, look, I saw this happen, or okay, we're gonna separate this situation by like someone getting cornered and it wasn't intentional but somebody was getting cornered. You as another actor, you would come up and just try to direct the person away from there by scaring them from another side, and so that way it just
Okay.
keeps anything from happening worse.
Yeah, I feel like every haunt has a different way of doing it, so it's interesting to hear like all the different ways. Because I mean, I never thought of that way. You know, just someone else coming in and scaring. That's the easiest way to get someone out of a difficult situation too. So it's a clever way to think about that. I guess like with building on Rob's question, could have quite a Jesus, I can't talk. Quite of a controversial question. Uh, who is your favorite character at Fright Fest?
Ooh.
Oh, that is a rough one right there for sure.
Let's go.
Okay, give me your top
let's,
three.
let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So it's hard to say that there's a favorite overall because there's
Mhm.
so many really good talents. But there are certainly highlights for different areas.
Okay.
So, like in the Witch's Lair, Chithonia was a huge highlight for me. And then obviously Jinx is definitely one of those big names that just kind of draw your attention. He just captures the crowd really well.
He's everywhere.
Yeah. And then like obviously in Scream Break, Margarita
Yeah.
catches
Oh,
everybody's
yeah.
attention very easily.
Yeah.
In Nightmares, we've got the Screech for the Queen of Hearts.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's just there's several different ones that if you
Yeah.
just got to go look at different zones, and there's always going to be someone that just captures the area really well.
I think it's awesome because like you said, you look at the different zones and there's so many different names. I mean, there's Trainwreck, there's Rose Metal, there's so many different names out there that like you could think of. And that's what's cool how like Fright Fest allows you guys to have Instagrams for your monsters. I think that's one of the coolest things. So fans of the event can not only be fans of the event, but they can also be fans of the monsters.
Yes.
You know, that's like what I was talking about with Jinx. Jinx has built up such a big following, and that's what we've seen with other monsters too.
Yeah, that's why it's like there's also so many different ways to go about the scaring. Like Innocence, complete
Oh, yeah.
unique,
Yes.
completely unique. Not everybody could go out there and bend the way she did.
But still
Or-
scared the hell out of people, even
Right?
as slow as she was doing it.
And then not everybody can get away with just that slow crawl like that.
Mhm.
Right.
And then there's some of them who are like me. I could be quite aggressive and like charge towards people.
I would say you're
Right,
I would say
yeah.
you're very aggressive. Very aggressive.
Especially coming out of the fog and everything.
Yes.
You know, it's finding the balance of using your surroundings and also your talent is a big thing about being a scare actor.
Yeah, I've had some people, oh, look at her. She's dancing. She's so innocent. Oh, that's not innocent.
Yeah, no, she's setting you up for a scare. I witnessed it firsthand.
Yeah.
So
I make either a good distraction or I will be my own distraction.
That's an awesome way to think about it.
well, I mean, as far as like where you're at now, in your zone, do you like? What is there another step you want to go? Is there some growth you want to do with your character, or do you feel like you have it and you're just gonna kind of like fine tune everything with your character?
So at the moment, with the character, if they choose to keep the zone
Right.
and keep my character and everything this year, because I don't have any of that information, it's too early for even those auditions.
Right.
But I like my character for sure, and it would be just the fine tuning, like how I added different hair stuff this year. And so it's just the fine tuning of figuring out what other things can I just do to elevate how I've pictured the character to be. Some other people have teased with the idea of twisting my character a little more, like giving me more bat wings and things like that.
Interesting.
One person teased with the idea of wanting me to be on stilts, and I was like, that would completely change the way I would scare, because you can't really twist the way I do on stilts.
Yeah.
Right.
But who knows what the future holds on that. It would just be, well, I'll take it as it comes, and we'll have to see.
If your character's there, you build on it, and if not, then you build on a different one.
Definitely.
But the bat wings would be cool for that specific zone, and like your makeup and everything. I think that would probably fit the best. I don't think there's anyone on stilts in that zone, right?
So we have, they left partway through the year, but there's the lioness, who is the lion tamer ringleader.
Okay.
That was our stilt walker for the area. They left
Interesting.
partway
I didn't
through
know
the
she was in
season.
there.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool to know. I guess kind of shifting towards the end here, have you do Holiday in the Park too, correct?
I did this year, yes.
Yes.
What was that transition like? From like going from scary to like friendly.
And it's a quick transition, that's for sure.
I know, it's very quick.
But I actually didn't. It was different being around the area because my brain is just had spent so many years coming in there going, okay, we're scaring. And then so I'm backstage and it's like, okay, I'm getting different stuff this time and I'm being jolly. And then one comment from somebody who was part of the creative team happened to see me out in character. And they loved my energy, but they had to walk away because they're like, that's too much sugar for me, and walked away because they were just like, I can't sit here and watch this hyperness that much.
Yeah. Well, I guess with that, do you plan on doing it next year or this year? I guess I don't know why I said this next year.
If everything pans out between when auditions are, what's going on with normal life, then I would love to revisit Holiday in the Park again.
That's awesome to hear. Rob, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say seeing you at Holiday was really cool. You did a phenomenal job, and you gave me some awesome pictures, so thank you so much. When you're not in character, when you're not scaring or you're not brightening people's holidays, what do you do for fun?
I actually play a lot of D&D.
Okay,
Okay.
That's awesome. That's I hear a lot of
Dungeons and
people
Dragons,
in the haunt world actually talking about that.
It helps keep your creative mind.
There you go. Yeah, anything to keep the creative juices flowing, as they say.
Wait, I got one more question. More question. What's your favorite scary movie?
See, my husband was mentioning that you were going to ask this.
You got to. It's a horror podcast.
Yeah, got to.
So, most of the time, scary movies don't actually scare me.
Okay.
Because I just connect to them differently than the way most people do. So it's more about the actual storytelling. And so I've got to go with the Conjuring movies.
Nice.
Because they've got a really solid storytelling. And it's not just about, what kind of jump scares can we put out there for people? Or just... It's not as boring and stuff for the way I see the films.
That is the best way to say it because everyone does have a different take on scary movies. You know, you have the general public who loves just getting the shit scared out of them. And you have people who are like true horror lovers who just love like the story aspect of it. That's why I love Killer Clowns so much.
Then there's those people who really like the more of the gore side and scare that way.
Yeah.
You have like your slasher fans. There's so many different types of fans out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that to cap off, I want to know one thing that you want to say to the haunt audience. You have the floor.
Thank you for the support that I've gained on Instagram and stuff already. If you take pictures of me, go ahead and tag me. I love seeing them because it's not like I can see myself when I'm out there. So seeing that, and thank you for just the interactions I get. I've had some wonderful memories from just interacting, and whether it being scaring one person and just the humorous response that I got, which was great, to a little girl who was scared and I helped her calm down while still being one of the more scarier looking ones, and she was scared of the cat. So there's some wonderful, and I can't thank enough for the fans out there. And if it's something you're interested in trying, it never hurts to try.
Right.
That's how I got started. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any kind of background. I'm not theater. I'm not in movies. None of that. Like I said, I sit in a library. That's my day job. But I said, what's the worst that happens? This is a cool event. I want to try. And the worst they could say is no.
Now look at where we are now.
And here I am.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you coming on. You guys can follow her Instagram. I'll put it up on the screen. right now, and you'll definitely see Rob and I out at Screen Break. And like Crone mentioned, any photos, videos, tag her on there. I think that's one of the neat things also just about Fright Fest is like seeing all the photos and videos that creative
Yes.
people come up with. But yeah, I think that was pretty good. I appreciate you coming on. Just for me, like I said, I've been wanting to get more into Fright Fest stuff, and Rob has really opened up my mind to Fright Fest a little bit more.
I've loved Fright Fest for years, so I'm always
Yeah.
I always support
Yeah,
Fright Fest.
Yeah, I will never
Look at
compete
see
with
there
Rob
we
on
go,
his Fright Fest love.
there we go,
I'm actually
there we
wearing
go.
mine from this year.
Yeah.
And on the back it has
Well, you guys can't. You can. Rob.
on the back.
You guys
Let's
can't see it. I'm wearing a Salem sweater that
Oh,
my fiance got me, so that's fitting with the
My
theme.
camera totally won't show the back, but it says the 30th anniversary and Scare Team on the back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
I always love like the cast shirts. But yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Yes.
As always, to all of you guys, please subscribe to the Haunt Talk YouTube channel. Down below, also to Exploring Attractions, myself and Rob, the Howling Hour. But with that, that's going to wrap it up for Haunt Talk, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.